I have escorted 31 convocations. I know the grammar of the thing the way I know the weight of my own armor. Without thinking about it, without needing to name each piece. I know who stands where. I know the order of precedence. I know which delegations take offense at proximity and which take it as a compliment. And I know how to place my own body between the two without appearing to do either. The Keth Dominion has sent an honor guard to every convocation since the accords were signed. And the honor guard has always looked exactly like me. 3 meters of articulated iron plate. Shoulder horns lacquered in Dominion crimson. The ceremonial war lances carried upright at a precise angle that says, "We have come here in peace and we could end you, and we prefer the former." The display is not a threat. It is a vocabulary. Every species that has attended a convocation for more than 2 generations understands what it means when we walk in formation, and the meaning is simple. We are serious, we are old, and we did not arrive empty. The great hall of Tessavar Station had been dressed for the convocation the way it always was. Banners cleared, the central floor opened. The trade galleries folded back to create the long processional corridor, where each delegation would make its formal entry. 41 species in attendance that cycle. 41 opportunities for a species to decide what face it wanted the others to see. The Vrethkai came in behind a sound that preceded them by 30 seconds. A subsonic pulse from their resonance drums that you felt in your chest, plate before you heard it, which was the point. Their warriors moved in a lockstep that made the floor tremble. Impressive. I had seen it 11 times. The Sorvat, their high priests and their reliquary bearers, the latter draped in extinction silk, woven from the wing membranes of a species they had personally removed from the galaxy 400 years ago. The message was not subtle. I had seen it 9 times. The Lethiri brought nothing except 2 of their null-field engineers, stood at the center of the corridor and let the null field speak for them. Every electronic display in a 30-meter radius went dark. Every recorded signal stopped, and the assembled delegations stood in a pocket of absolute silence for exactly the amount of time it took to understand that the Lethiri could do this to a star. I found that one the most honest. I had seen it 6 times. My duty was to stand at the Dominion's left flank position, which placed me at an angle to the main floor. Good sightlines. I used them because, in 31 convocations, I had learned that the danger rarely came from whoever was performing. It was during the Vrethkai entry, the second delegation to present, the resonance drums at full pulse, that I first noticed her. She was sitting at a small service table, set into the alcove at the hall's eastern wall. The alcoves were for minor trade observers, junior clerks, and credentialed press representatives who had been granted access, but not floor-standing rights. She was human, which I noted and filed without significant thought. Humans had attended convocations for 6 cycles. They were a new species, is to say a young one, which is to say they were still in the phase where the older species were deciding what to make of them. They sent economists and junior diplomats. They stood in the alcoves. They took notes. She was not taking notes. She was eating something. A small bread roll, from what I could see, pulling pieces from it with 2 fingers and eating them with the unhurried attention of someone who had no particular reason to look up from her meal. I noted this and returned to my duty. It was another 40 minutes before I noted her again. And I only noticed her the second time because of what I saw happening on the floor. The Dorak had just completed their entry. The Dorak are a warrior casted species of some antiquity, and their presentation involved 3 of their ranked combatants performing a formal kill sequence against remote-piloted warframes. The frames set, full resistance, the combatants unarmed, the whole sequence meant to demonstrate what a Dorak body was capable of doing without tools. It was technically extraordinary. The kind of performance that reliably produced visible reactions from the assembled delegations, a shift in posture, a murmuring, the involuntary stillness that means a species has registered something that surprises it. There was none of that. I mean, there was some of it. The junior observers in the galleries, the newer species, the clerks, the normal distribution of reaction. But I had 31 convocations of calibration in my head, and I knew what the senior figures on this floor were supposed to look like during a Doric demonstration, and they did not look like that. They looked like they were trying not to look at something. I swept the hall, found the something. The Vrethkai war captain, a figure I had stood across from at 3 convocations, a creature that had walked unarmed into the middle of a Sorvan reliquary procession once to make a point about territorial precedence, was standing, his secondary arms folded against his thorax. The primary arms were still, which for a Vrethkai means something specific. It means they are not certain about their situation, and they are waiting to see what the situation does before they move. The Letheri engineers were facing the alcove. 2 of the Sorvan high priests had turned their reliquary bearers so the silk faced the eastern wall. I looked at the eastern wall. The human woman was eating her bread roll. She had produced something from a small case at her feet. A flask, I thought, or a thermos of some kind. And she was pouring liquid into a cup, looking down at what she was doing, with the calm concentration of someone who did not want to spill. She had not looked up once since I had first noticed her. She was not performing anything. She was not watching the floor. She was simply there, eating, and every senior military figure in the room had quietly, without announcement or coordination, arranged themselves to keep her in their peripheral vision. I did not understand this. I turned to Commander Vethash, who was at my right shoulder, and I said it quietly because the convocation floor demands quiet. I said, "The woman in the eastern alcove. Who is she?" Vethash took a long moment before he answered. Not the kind of pause that means he did not know. The kind that means he was deciding how to say it. "She is with the Terran Observer's office," he said. "Junior trade attachment. 3rd cycle attending." I waited. "She is the only one they sent this cycle," Thash said. "The others had a scheduling conflict." I looked at the woman. She had finished the bread roll. She was wrapping the cloth that had come in, and folding it with an economy of movement that was neither careful nor careless. Just efficient, like someone putting away a thing they had used. "What is she?" I said. "What does her record say?" Vethash was quiet for 3 full seconds then. "The Terran Observer's office attached her as a junior trade representative. Her secondary classification is in their defense ministry. Tertiary classification is sealed. The seal is Class Red. We could not open it. I did not know what a Class Red Terran seal meant. I said so. It means," Vethash said, "that the Terran Heart government considers the information sensitive enough that they would rather have a diplomatic incident than share it. It means she is not here as a trade representative." I looked at the floor. The Dorak had finished demonstration. The war frames had been cleared. The floor was being reset for the next delegation, which was ours. In 4 minutes I would walk out there with my lance at the precise angle that said, "We are serious," and we did not arrive empty. I looked at the woman one more time. She had produced a second item from her case. It appeared to be a piece of fruit of some kind, wrapped in paper. She was unwrapping it with the same unhurried efficiency. The Vrethkai war captain had not moved his primary arms. I picked up my lance. I straightened my shoulder horns. I thought about 31 convocations, and the grammar of them, and how I had believed for most of my adult life that I understood what it meant when a species walked into a room with its full weight visible. I walked out onto the floor and performed my 30-second convocation display, and I did it well because duty does not pause for recalibration. But I held my lance at the precise angle, and I did not look at the eastern alcove, and that choice, to not look, was itself a kind of acknowledgement, and I knew it even then. She was still eating when we finished. I could hear the hall very clearly in the silence after we stopped moving. I noted that the silence was not the silence of a room impressed by us. It was the silence of a room that had been careful. I had not understood before that day that there was a difference.